bit of improvement there. And obviously we're entering the most important season now, so that's why it's really important to secure the supply to prepare for the season. So what we have decided also is to add a third sourcing for French fries. So in addition to Belgium and China, we started to import French fries also from India. Some of you may have already started selling them. That's a little bit, the approach is a little bit different with the Indian fries, especially for Metro Manila. But anyway, that helps us also to allocate more volume of granastic or astic to the ADPs. So that's a little bit the strategy. It's a kind of a first sourcing which will allow us also to guarantee better supply, because actually India has a different crop season compared to China and Belgium. So having the three sourcing should help with the supply situation. So next please, so we have basically now the confidence that basically we can fulfill all the demands of all our ADPs as we enter the new crop season in China and Belgium. There's still a bit of challenge with China, I have to say, although they have installed a new production line in September that is slowly starting to produce, dedicated to the 1 kilo format. And basically we expect a lot of volume out of this line in the coming weeks, but there's a little bit of delay. So by mid-November, hopefully earlier than that, we should be able to have a stable, growing supply of granastic, which is obviously our hero SKU. We're also evaluating what we have fixed the issue with the 1 kilo. We're also evaluating the launch of a 2 kilo granastic. We have quite aggressive price proposition, so we think we can be about 3 pesos per kilo cheaper on the list price if we launch a 2 kilo. And I know that in the past we have been quite successful, especially with market mix with the 2 kilo. So we think that probably now the time is right to look also at 2 kilo. So later on I will be circulating a small questionnaire and be asking you if you're interested in this new SKU. Okay. Okay, the situation in Belgium is like this. The crop is a little bit delayed, but it's been a lot of rain during the summer, and the potatoes are very big, which means that once Belgium is ready to produce, the astic quality will be better than what we had this year, meaning in terms of the length, it will be better. So basically when China eventually will be off again, because there's time of the year in China where they don't produce, we can rely a little bit more on Belgium or on Indian supply. Okay, so that will be the strategy moving forward. Of course, the priority is to have as much as possible granastic, but when needed, we will produce astic from Belgium with a better length than this year. So that's okay plan. Okay, and potatoes will basically complement the sourcing of Belgium and India and China, as I explained earlier. So let's move to the next slide, which I think is also important to understand a little bit in terms of positioning, but with a different product, right? So of course the situation may be slightly different area per area, but let's say that typically, basically, granastic is really our hero SKU. It is very well accepted by the trade, as you all know. One of the reasons is, of course, the sturdy box, the length, the foods brands. So we really believe there that we have a really winning SKU. So that should be really our main focus, especially Metro Manila, where we have a really fighting chance again in this price, the red tag. Okay. So that's for granastic. Secondly, of course, potatoes. For those that are selling potatoes, probably is more competing directly with the other Indian fries. So the Magritos, the Maestro, the Super Fries. So that would be more the positioning. So in terms of price positioning, it's possible that sometimes that would be a little bit cheaper than granastic. But again, our commitment to you is that we will be very proactive and we will make sure that we are always competitive on price, whether it's granastic or whether it's potatoes or astic. And basically the more you can sell, the more basically we will have also bargaining power with the supplier to get a better price. price, with more volume, we will pass that on to the market. So that's really our game plan moving forward. So yeah, you all know Renassi. Anyway, even you want to see it again. Let's move to the next slide. Perhaps. Okay. Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's what I basically mentioned, right? Also, we will continue working with the VC incentive that we currently have to make it a bit simpler for everyone. Basically, the monthly target that will be set will basically be a total target for all the fries, whatever the brand, and the vegetables. So that at the end of the day, whether supply or not, stock or not, let's say the target will be reflecting what we can offer you and whatever you said put together. And then the incentive scheme will be basically more or less the same, 0.25 pesos per kilo if the target is met, and then any volume in excess of the target we get 0.5. Okay, because we expect this to continue growing. So we're a little bit revising the incentive scheme, but still very there, and I think it's welcome. I hope by all your teams, and we wish to continue to reward the performance. It's important, I believe. Okay, let's move forward. Yes. So basically, in order to execute this plan, we really need your support, as I mentioned, and there are basically key asks we have. So the first one basically is to align with you on the volume you need. It's especially important for the development to make sure we have